Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Her husband looks like he's running for governor, and she's running for Congress. Plus, we'll take a look at Las Vegas politics, statewide politics, and international politics. Marlene Lockard has the rundown.
Today, we're going to take the opportunity to talk to former Assemblywoman Dawn Gibbons, possibly our next First Lady, and also ace reporter Erin Neff from Las Vegas.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Connie McMullen, Mylan, Hawkins, and Paul Enos. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Where do I want to go?
Me? Denver.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Atlanta. Vancouver.
Chicago.
We can help you get where you need to be or want to be. Reno Tahoe International Airport. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Anywhere?
Minneapolis.
St. Paul.
Over 170 daily flights, non-stop service to 19 cities and connections everywhere else. Reno Tahoe International Airport, dedicated to moving you.
Jupiter.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We're joined today by Dawn Gibbons, former Assemblyman and now candidate for U.S. Congress. Welcome to the program, Dawn.
Thanks for having me, Marlene and Sam. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
Let's start out on a sad note. The mayor of Sparks, Tony Armstrong, passed away this weekend. He was a close family friend. Would you speak to him for just a moment?
I'll tell you what, that is a great hero to me and a wonderful public servant. He was one of the best mayors that Sparks ever had, and we're going to miss him so much. I just find myself every once in a while. We saw him on Friday and got to speak to him, and it was very hard for Jim because Jim grew up with him, but he's been a part of my life ever since I've known my husband, and very close and very supportive. You know, it's just that tie that you're just going to miss. And every once in a while I find myself getting a little teary-eyed and can't hardly believe that he's not going to be with us anymore.
I have to say that I've been interviewing politicians for many, many years, and he was a very genuine man, a very nice man, and he was always willing to talk. And not as a politician trying to sell you something.
Right.
He was just himself, and I think that's just a rare quality.
I sure love that about him, and it's rare in politics, as you know. But
It really is, and he was quite the epitome of the really sincere, genuine, real deal.
And we send our sincere condolences to
especially
Tony's
to
family.
Debbie, and yeah.
Let's change topics here. when Kathy Augustine said that one of the races that she might go for was U.S. Congress, if Jim Gibbons were to step down to run for governor, you jumped in and said, if she runs, I'm going to run, and it suddenly snowballed into something else.
Well, actually, I didn't really say that. Ray Hager, we have had this discussion. It was slightly misquoted. I said, well, she'll be running against me. That's what I said. Okay, but you kind of have taken this step, which has kind of forced the issue now that Jim Gibbons, even though he has not officially announced, your husband, appears to be running for the governor's race. Well, I have been so involved in District 2, as you know, and actually statewide doing 2 constitutional amendments over actually 8-year period, and also my service in the legislature for 3.5 terms, because I served during the time when Jim was in the Gulf War, and being a businesswoman since I came here in 1974. I just would like to use my skills and the background that I have to do the best I can for the people of the state.
You know, Dawn, there's lots of really serious big issues facing this state and our country right now. And if you were to move into the position of serving as our Congresswoman and our First Lady, how do you feel about the issue of Social Security and possibly reducing benefits and turning it over into a personal savings account? Have you those are absolutely, aside from war and peace. Yes. You know, we've got some domestic issues that are going to really have an impact on the pocketbooks of many Americans and Nevadans. I agree with you, Marlene, and I think Social Security is something that we'll have to tackle very soon. And I'm sure that they're going to be dealing with it this year. I will tell you what I feel about Social Security. Congress needs to pass a law to not allow them to spend the surplus. Right now, they have IOUs worth between $11 and $13 trillion. But Don, the fact of the matter is, everyone how could any of us forget the lockbox of Gore when he was running for president? Everyone has talked about putting those funds in a lockbox and not touching them. It never has happened. Well, they did it one year. That surplus is spent ad infinitum. Well, they did it one year, and you can't bind one legislative session to the next, so they have to do it every year. They have been spending our Social Security money from everything from welfare to the State Department and everything in between, and that's wrong. And we need to correct that inequity. But what would you do when Gore and others, you know, really that have had the national stage, have tried to put it in a lockbox? I mean, everyone I've known that's run for federal office has talked about lockbox, setting that aside for the purposes to which it was intended. And it never happens. I think it should be the first business of every Congress. Every year when they meet in January, that should be the first bill that goes in. So if you can't bind the next Congress, you bind it for the first order of business every time we meet. Don, you know, we've got a complete split in the Nevada delegation between John Ensign and between Harry Reid as far as having a portion of the Social Security be allowed for private investments. What are your thoughts on that? Well, I'll tell you, Social Security, the way it's been invested, has only yielded about 1% to 2% a year. Now, if you invested in Treasury bonds, which is very safe, that would be 6%. And maybe our government should look at that. I'm open to people having control of their Social Security. I think that's a wonderful thing. But first and foremost, we need to protect the people that have already put that money in. It's our money, and no one should take care of it. But what about the deficit, the big $2 trillion that it would cost to get this new system in place under Bush's plan? Where would that money come from? Well, I would be careful about putting a new system, especially at the cost of $2 trillion. I think that right now we need to shore up Social Security, maybe look at other ways for young people to invest, to save for their retirement, because it's going to cost so much as we age. But right now,
I think we just should protect Social Security as it is right now.
Let me ask you this, and we're running out of time here.
Okay.
But we welcome you back.
Yeah.
And by the way, an interesting difference between you and Dean Heller, when I asked Dean Heller for specifics on what he was going to do if he went to Congress, he said he was going to do some investigating to find out. So I'm kind of glad to hear you have some at least concrete proposals. The question has arisen about being the First Lady and at the same time being in Congress. How do you respond to people who have concerns about that?
Well, I think I'm very much a multitask person. I've been a mother, I've been a businesswoman, I've been a wife of a congressman, I've been an assemblywoman. And, you know, Congress is, and Marlene knows because she worked for Senator Bryan for many years, they meet in the House Tuesday through Thursday. So the rest of the time, in fact, my husband comes home. He's home every weekend, and we live here in Nevada. I think it would be very effective getting significant things done for the people in this state in Congress, sharing their voice, fighting for them, and also balancing it when I'm home, opening up the mansion, going out to people, doing whatever the First Lady does now, I will be able to do. I love the people of this state. My son will be in college, and I have the time, and it's my life. I want to dedicate my life to the state.
And we appreciate you being here. We're out of time. Thank you so much. And we welcome you back here. Don Gibbons, running for Congress. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And here on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined on the phone by Erin Neff, Chief Political Reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Erin, welcome to the program. I have to say, I have to ask you what your thoughts are on yesterday's election in Iraq. What did you think?
Well, I was pleased to see, they estimate 8 million or so folks did take part in that election, and voter turnout, it looks like over 60% there. And if that was our goal all along, if that in fact was our end game, then it's nice to see that it's at least happening, participatory democracy taking hold. I know around the Arab world, it's being viewed with a bit of skepticism and still being viewed as though it's U.S. Marines that helped enable it, but we will see how this new government emerges and how they vote on their writing of their constitution and how that all shakes out. It could be promising, and it could keep us there for decades, who knows.
Erin, there are a lot of critics of President Bush and this plan leading up to this election. Do you think those like Senator Kennedy and others need to eat a little crow today?
I don't know, frankly. If someone thinks 1,400 American soldiers are worth the cost of having Iraqis vote in an election that they might have gotten to on their own eventually, I don't know. I don't know that Ted Kennedy's necessarily wrong. I think if you ask the relatives of the 31 servicemen who died in the helicopter crash last week, and were presumably headed to their last mission before coming home, they might think otherwise about this election. Again, I'm not discounting it. I'm saying it's quite remarkable to see people voting, to see women, as we had a picture of an Iraqi woman on our front page putting up a V for either voting or victory. I'm not sure which, but it is the spirit of democracy, and it is nice to see it happening. It was wonderful to see it happening in Ukraine, and it's always good when these things happen around the world. I think anytime a person has a right to vote and to express their opinion at the ballot, that's a wonderful thing. I don't know if it necessarily equates to should we be there and should our boys and girls be dying over there for it.
You know, I agree with you on both counts there, Erin, and I was watching 60 Minutes last night and saw the pictures from the Ukraine during that whole election process, and the looks on the faces of those people and the excitement. You know, I don't remember when I went to the polling station that people were singing and dancing the last time.
Right.
Let's change topics here, if I may, and bring it right back home to Las Vegas. Changes on the Las Vegas City Council here. Janet Moncrief out, Lois Tarkanian in. What does that mean?
Well, you know, the voters in this one little ward in Las Vegas have just not had a good run of things. They brought Janet Moncrief in to get rid of Michael McDonald, who was facing ethical trouble and who was caught up in this indictment, although he was not indicted, but he was rumored to be one of the key witnesses and or dealers in that case with the strip clubs down here. So they got rid of him and they went with her, and she really had no political experience, was ineffective on the city council, and ran into her own trouble with campaign finance, for which she has subsequently been indicted. The voters said enough's enough, and they went with Lois Tarkanian, who obviously is a known name in Southern Nevada. The Tarkanian name resonates well, thanks to Coach Tark and the Runnin' Rebs from their victory days. And you know, she won that recall election thanks to the strength of her name and some good get out the vote efforts in a very light turnout race.
You know, Erin, I'm sure you're aware of the myriad of ethical BDRs and changes in ethics laws and pending in the state legislature. Do you think that we'll ever be able to legislate integrity and ethics in this state?
No, I mean, a person either is going to be ethical or not, and I think the state can do some things to tighten its ethics laws. I think there's a great suggestion to get rid of the law that says someone had to willfully violate the law in order to do it. I mean, they either break the law or they don't. What is willful in the sense of helping out your friends or your family? It's all willful in my mind. So I think if they tossed that law, it could go a long way toward bolstering ethics in government. But ultimately, you're absolutely right. You cannot legislate morality. You cannot tell people to be good. You just have to give the authorities the proper enforcement tools and the teeth to prove that the governmental officials are legitimate.
Erin, in your column today, Political Notebook in the paper, you talk about the battle between Richard Perkins and Dina Titus, both going to be running for governor. How do you think that this is going to affect the way that the legislature is run this year?
I think it's going to have a huge effect. You know, you might see some unholy alliances emerge. You might see Dina Titus sidling up to Bill Raggio in many instances as a one-upsmanship move over Richard Perkins. You could see some influx of Jim Gibbons into this legislative session through Assembly Minority Leader Lynn Hetrick. I think it's going to absolutely play a factor in not just the property tax debate, but also the larger debate of this session, which is what to do with this surplus and how does Nevada spend its money. I think it's going to be very interesting to watch.
And with that, I can't let it go by without bringing up Senator Beers, who on this show did not say he was not running for governor. If you add that into the already very complicated equation, how do you think that Beers factor impacts the legislative session this time?
Well, I don't think there is a Beers factor in the 06 governor's race. I mean, after all, he's a freshman in the Senate. I think he likes to hear his name floated around, and I don't think he's running for governor. I think he'd be suicidal to take on Jim Gibbons. You already have Jim Gibbons and Lorraine Hunt running for governor in 06. Now, how he plays in the legislative session, however, is going to be interesting because he is a fiscal conservative. He is to the right of Bill Raggio, and he is on the Money Committee in the Senate. He's going to make waves. He's going to have allies like Sandra Tiffany and Barbara Sagaski in the Senate and some in the Assembly, obviously. And so he, I think, will be a major factor, at least that point of view will be a predominant factor in the debate on what to do with the surplus.
And Erin Neff, you are a major factor in political reporting in the Silver State, and if people want to read your columns, they can either go to the Las Vegas Review-Journal and buy the paper, or they can get you online at reviewjournal.com. Thanks as always for being here. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
If it's hot, it's here at the Peppermill. The Peppermill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Peppermill. Where are you winning?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the Power Pundit panel today Connie McMullen, who is the publisher of Senior Spectrum newspaper, which is read statewide. Paul Enos, Manager of Government Affairs for the Retail Association of Nevada, one of our proud sponsors. And Mylan Hawkins, Vice President, Interface Computer Associates. Welcome to all of you. Got to start out, Connie, with, by yesterday, I was totally caught up in this Iraqi election, seeing people, as I made the comment earlier, cheering and singing for the opportunity to vote. I was at Bartley Ranch when I put my vote in last time. I don't remember anybody singing and dancing there. Wasn't this a remarkable day?
I thought it was a remarkable day. It really, I didn't expect it to be so successful. I don't know why. I was surprised. I was amazed the fact that women got out there and actually brought their children, which would have petrified me, just to vote. And, there's propaganda from Iran and the other countries that say, well, this was America's stage. But excuse me, that took a lot of courage.
And people in Iran, Iraqis in Iran, were voting because that was one of the places where they could vote. What was your thought, Paul?
I thought it's absolutely amazing. Anytime you have people who are choosing how they're going to be governed, absolutely amazing. I mean, you've seen it in Afghanistan, you've seen it in Iraq, and I just hope it's something that we can continue throughout the world.
Absolutely. I mean, if we went into this country for any purpose at all, this should have been the best reason for us being there. We can hope now that there will be follow-through and that it won't result in something awful in terms of a civil war. But the fact that it happened...
it doesn't look that way. The Sunnis have said they didn't want to take part in the election necessarily, although there was quite a large turnout despite that, but that they do want to be involved in the writing of the Constitution.
And
I think that's a major step.
I think one of the other major steps too, Sam, with this is that the Ayatollah, who urged the Shiite to go and vote, reiterated the fact that he did not want to see a religious state. He wanted it to be secular. That, I think, was extremely profound, and I think this man may hold enough sway because it was him who pushed for the elections rather than the American plan, which was the regionalization. He said, no, the whole country has to go to vote. And hopefully he has enough sway in this country to keep it moving forward.
Do you think, as Sam says, that what we all witnessed yesterday, do you think that'll have any impact on Americans who take their right to vote so cavalierly? I mean, you look at the numbers. Do you think that might serve as a catalyst to some folks of saying, Do we have to put armed guards around the voting polling yards to get people?
I don't even see it that way. Following up on what Erin said in regard to voting, I think that this was so important that they did turn out like this. I mean, this is the start of something big for this country. The people who lost their lives there, their families are desperately hoping that there is a reason why we went there, and they want something good to come out of this.
I don't disagree with that.
Marlene,
but what I'm saying is,
just so we get it straight,
do you think this will prompt Americans for more due diligence?
You have a right to vote. Yeah. You have a right to vote in America. You also have the right not to vote. I mean, that's the great thing. Nobody forces you into a polling booth and says, you got to push these buttons. You have to choose somebody. And a right to choose is fundamental as a right not to
bother. And you know, I think one of the problems that we're looking at right now, I don't know if any of you heard this, but we have a whole group of young kids coming up out of high school that don't even understand what the First Amendment means and who believe that the government should suppress the freedom of the press. Now, is that going to be our voting population?
Well, just
yes.
I want to speak. Being somebody from that
I'll send you the article.
But being somebody from that younger generation for just a minute, I think a lot of times, and I have Connie here representing the other side. A lot of times the issues that we talk about aren't going to affect us. I mean, we talk forever about Social Security. You know, you're talking about Marlene. I'd like to make a point that you had earlier with Don Gibbons, where you said you're going to reduce benefits. Well, that's not true. You're not going to reduce benefits for the people. No, it's not, Marlene. You're not reducing benefits for the people who are already getting them. You're taking a look and seeing what can we do to make this program solvent for my generation. I want to be. Hold on. Let me just finish.
Heavy dose of the Kool-Aid. You are drinking
Marlene,
the Kool-Aid.
you know what? The Kool-Aid that you have been drinking, the Kool-Aid that you have been drinking, and a lot of people in the Democratic Party, is to scare people and say, if Bush gets elected, he's going to take away your Social Security. I mean, let's be honest about this. He's not going to take Social Security away from people like my grandfather, who's 86 years old. He's not going to reduce those. He's not going to reduce those benefits either. What he's going to do, he's looking at the future and saying, what can we do to make this program whole and solvent for the people in my generation
and for my kids? For you to say his plan doesn't reduce benefits is not factual.
Okay, and we're out of time. We will continue this discussion. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Paul.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Hole in your roof or a whole new roof, the folks at Van Dyne Roofing can get it fixed with their eyes closed. If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
And coming up tomorrow?
Sam, we're going to hear from gubernatorial candidate Senator Dina Titus and talk about the healthcare crisis with the new CEO from St. Mary's Hospital.
We'll see you then.